military conquest didn't reach sub-Saharan Africa for a number of reasons. First and foremost, when the Muslims tried to come down the Nile, they were defeated by a Nubian army in 652 CE that had a corps of archers that were described in contemporary Muslim sources as capable of putting an arrow in your eye from 300 paces away. This led to military prowess in an African context, and the Muslims were unable to invade sub-Saharan Africa. They were stopped. So then a different course of action and different set of relationships emerged because of that. Merchants then spread Islam first, but merchants are there on business. They're not there to teach people religion, but they open the first trade routes that then allow scholars to come behind. But not been that many scholars initially make that move. What's decisive, especially in West Africa, is that after the first Muslims come and a few scholars follow them, down trans-Saharan trading trails, some indigenous West Africans themselves not only convert to Islam, but take it as their vocation to teach the Quran and to spread Islam and Islamic knowledge specifically within their own societies. So it's the emergence of an indigenous West African clerical class, a class that focuses on religious knowledge, that ends within the bounds of the Empire of Ghana, which was the right there with China, the wealthiest and most powerful kind of political unit in the world at the time. But the two towns were called Kabara and Jaga. So Kabara was a place that produced a bunch of really erudite scholars, from the period of about 900 or 1000 CE until the 15 or 1600s, and not so many since. But Jaga, which is the point of origin for probably the oldest living tradition of scholarship today in West Africa, the Jahanke tradition, the name comes from Jaga. That was a teaching tradition that was established in the same period and is still alive today, more than 1,000 years old. And there's Jahanke clerical families with names like Drame, Jane, Sise, Toure, and others in almost every West African country right down to the present. And they, in turn, members of other West African ethnic groups imitated their model and began specializing in Islamic knowledge within their own communities because they learned Quran from these people and replicated the model in their own society. So Islam spread in these ways. So this happens, in Senegal. It happens in really all over, all over West Africa. And this, ends up being the thing that really starts to implant Islam in West African society as early as 1,000 years ago. The way that I often like to say this is that the Quran was taught on these wooden boards, which was actually one of the first mediums that was used to write the Quran in the early days of Islam. And it's still used in West Africa today, even though it's almost been abandoned everywhere else in the Muslim world. So it was the jihad of the wooden board, not the jihad of the sword, that spread Islam.